Laissez les bon temps rouler at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, as it is once again time for their annual Mardi Gras celebration. This is Eric from Park Rovers, and we spent this past weekend at Virginia's biggest Mardi Gras party. We're here to give you an overview of the event with some tips to hopefully help you with your visit. Initial thoughts. Mardi Gras at Busch Gardens Williamsburg is running from January 24th all the way through March 9th. It features select rides, weather pending, an impressive show lineup, and a park-wide New Orleans-inspired food festival. If you're someone who's been to Busch Gardens a bunch of times, or it's relatively convenient to get there, this is a great time to visit the park. The day that we went was sunny and in the low 50s, absolutely beautiful, perfect park weather. And there was rarely a time throughout the day where we encountered any sort of crowd. At peak times in the afternoon, I still found the pathways to be basically empty. So much so that my wife and I at one point took a moment while standing outside a fest house to just appreciate how nice it was. During peak seasons, that same pathway is absolutely jam-packed with people, making it difficult to find any sort of personal space at all. Yet, there we were, in one of the busiest spaces in the park, feeling like we were on a private tour. These low crowds do not come without some catches, though. First, plan your day efficiently, because park hours are very limited due to mornings and evenings still being very cold. On the day that we went, the park was only open for 6 hours, from noon until 6 p.m. Also, be aware that ride offerings are very limited at this event. Currently, Pantheon, Bolton, and Dark Coaster are the only 3 coasters advertised as operating for the event. And on our visit, Verbolten was also closed for maintenance. We go often enough that we aren't going as much for the rides as we are for the event, but it's just not the case for everyone visiting. Within the first half hour of the park opening, we heard conversations from at least 5 groups around us who had no idea that it was a limited ride selection that day. Specifically, while we were waiting for Pantheon to open after Rope Drop, we spoke with a father and son who had traveled a significant distance, assuming that it was regular operations. It was their first visit, and they were extremely disappointed when I broke the news. All that to say, if your expectations are set correctly, you will have an easygoing, carefree visit to what is usually a very busy park. Shows. What Mardi Gras might lack in ride offerings, it definitely makes up for in entertainment. There are 5 shows across the park, each running 3 to 4 times a day, making it seem like there's always something going on. The first show you'll encounter is Carnival Imaginique. Starting in England's Globe Theatre, this is by far the most ambitious offering at the park. This show features a range of performers displaying acrobatic, magical, and musical skills. Think like half cabaret, half stunt show. It's the only one that I think is not really worth spoiling at all, and probably the only must-see entertainment offering at the park. The second is Mardi Gras Street Party. In previous years, this was the offering in the France section of the park, but this year it makes the move to Ireland. No frills to this show. You have colorful costumes and fun music with a lot of highly encouraged crowd participation. This one is best seen when there's a bit of a crowd, as the more people there are, the more party from the title applies. The Crawdaddies are next. In France, the Crawdaddies are a Mardi Gras rendition of the often used percussion show format from seasonal events at the park. However, though it's a reused format, they always change the content of the shows enough to keep them interesting, especially with this version of the show utilizing a lot of event-appropriate metal boiling pots and pans. They're actually tied up all over the stage that they play for portions of the show. We actually stopped to watch this one twice throughout the day, as the performers are extremely impressive and put on a great show. The New Orleans Brass Jazz Band is without a doubt my favorite show at the event. Live instruments used to be a norm for the performances at Fest House. In recent years, though, we've noticed at Hallow Scream and Christmas Town that live performers have been replaced with a backing track for the singers to belt along with. It's a huge loss, as an audio track just can't capture the energy of having a live band on stage. These performers absolutely bring it. The show takes a full half hour, longer than any of those musical review style shows that occupy Fest House during the other seasonal offerings, and it never loses steam. While not at the same production scale as Carnival, for me, it's the other must-see while at the event. Bourbon Street Brigade is at the San Marco Theater in Italy, and it features yet another full band, which, yay, for more live music. It's backing a very talented group of singers doing renditions of popular classic rock songs. There's nothing Mardi Gras specific about this show, but I will never complain about more live entertainment. And the performers all do a terrific job. It's a great time to grab a bite to eat and take a load off for 20 or 30 minutes. Food offerings. Savor the flavors of the bayou, reads the text from the official website. Across the park, Busch Gardens is offering Mardi Gras-inspired specialty food and drinks to get you in the spirit. Items can be purchased a la carte from each stand, normally for $7 to $10 a piece, or for a discount using the 5 or 10 item sampler passes. We decided to split a 10-item sampler for $60, making each individual item come in at $6. While sampling around the park, we devised a foolproof ranking system to provide an extensive evaluation for each item, aka we ranked them each 1 to 5 on taste, value, and presentation. Now, taste meaning how much did we enjoy it, value meaning how worth $6 was it, and presentation meaning how appealing did it look when we first got it. Clancy's Cajun Creations in Ireland. I love when this quick service location is utilized for food festivals, because Ireland has my favorite vibes in the park to just sit and enjoy the ambiance with a bite to eat. The first thing we had was the catfish po' boy. Now, value-wise, this was a great option. You get half of a sub with a sizable piece of crispy catfish. This wasn't the best po' boy that we would have throughout the day, but it's one of the bigger portions offered for the festival. For presentation, we gave it a 3, value a 4, taste a 4, for a total of 11. Cajun Hush Puppies, oh no. These were bad. Like, bad. They were burnt and dry, and the spicy tartar-style sauce did not go well with the sweet dough. The only upside was you did get a lot of them. Presentation 2, value 3, taste 1, for a total of 6. Creole Grill in New France. Our 2 dishes of Creole Grill were our favorites in the park, which isn't surprising since they were being cooked at the always excellent Trapper's Grill. With another day, I think we would have been back to this location first, since their other offerings all looked very appealing as well. The chicken andouille gumbo was probably pound for pound the best value of the day. It's a full bowl with rice and a very tasty gumbo. Absolutely would recommend. Presentation 4, value 5, taste 4 for a day high total of 13. The fried green tomato po' boy. This was our favorite po' boy of the day. The fried green tomatoes were crispy and dense, and it had a delicious remoulade on top. Add to it that it's also a half a sub like the other one, and this is just another solid value. The presentation was 4, the value was 4, taste was 4, for a total of 12. Big Easy Spirits and Fest House. Seeing as we weren't much in the mood for a cinnamon roll, which was their only food offering, we opted to go to the drink route at Fest House and get the king cake shots while we watched the jazz band. These were tasty. A mix of rum chata and fireball with an icing rim that features green, purple, and yellow sprinkles. It was fun, festive, and pretty strong. It definitely packed a punch. Presentation 4, even though it was a tiny shot. I'm going to give the value 3 because they were pretty strong, and taste also a 3. Total of 10. Bourbon Street Eats in Italy. Having this food booth location in the often closed Marco Polo's marketplace was a savvy decision, as the San Marco Theater offers a plenitude of tables in its seating arrangement that almost beg for patrons to have food to go along with the show. The first thing we had was the muffaletta. This is a top-tier item at the event. The bread was nice and toasty, the meat was heated the whole way through. There's nothing worse than a cold-cut sandwich that is meant to be hot, but is half cold. It was warm the whole way through. And the olive spread was that perfect salty, savory topping that every good muffaletta needs. The presentation was a 3, the value was a 4, the taste was a 5, for a total of 12. The Cajun mac and cheese was fine. It was a little dried out from the seemingly sitting under heat lamps for too long, and the portion wasn't huge. It wasn't the best item that we tried. Presentation 2, value 2, taste 2, total of 6. The last stop that we made was at the Bayou Bar in Oktoberfest. With time running out on our day, remember, only open for 6 hours, we snuck in 2 quick items to finish off our lanyard. The King's Cup Margarita, we shared this small but mighty cocktail. Sometimes large batch-made drinks lead you to the assumption that they're going to be pretty watered down, and maybe it was because the day was winding down and they were towards the bottom of the batch, but the tequila flavor was front and center in this marg. It could have used some salt or some tahini as a garnish to make it not look so tiny plastic cuppy, but overall, presentation 1, value 3, taste 3, for a total of 7. Finally, the Cajun snack mix. Again, it was towards the end of the day, but this snack mix was the size equivalent of a free snack, and it was mostly crumbs. It was a good flavor, but not even close to worth the price. Presentation 1, value 1, taste 2, for a day low, total of 4. So overall, there were some very high highs, and there were some low lows. If you're smart with your decisions, it's absolutely worth it to get the food lanyard. $60 for 10 items will keep 2 people fed all day, and they are all items that you otherwise can't get at the park. A smart move would be to watch a few people coming out before making your decision, to ensure you aren't leaving with a small bowl of burnt mac and cheese. Around the park. Some spare final thoughts from throughout our day. First, for this event, you gotta rope drop Dark Coaster if it's a priority. With every other ride in the park being a complete walk-on, we still clocked at least an hour wait for Dark Coaster every time that we passed it. Those load times can be brutal, and it really showed with the waits. My rule for Dark Coaster, I will stand by this, If the line is inside of the show building, it's a half hour or less. If the line is inside of the covered outdoor queue, it's an hour or less. If the line is anywhere past the covered section, it's over an hour. Come back another time. My next note is to get on Pantheon early in the day, as she is finicky with bad weather. We were really lucky to ride Pantheon 3 times in the first hour of our visit with absolutely no wait at all. We walked directly on all 3 times. Unfortunately, with winds picking up and a little chill creeping in, it only stayed open for a few hours, probably until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, leaving many people very disappointed. My last note, and this is potentially the most important note of this entire video, if you go to this event, you need to ride the Busch Gardens Railway to go see the big bad wolf, the Wolf's Revenge. We rode the railway 3 times during our visit. And that wow factor of seeing that shiny new red track just never dissipated. I was so curious to see if the railway would be open, as I figured there would either be active construction or they wouldn't want to give away any spoilers about the ride, but that new track just winds up and over and all around the train as you pass through the area. Even cooler, the fully 3-dimensional village set in the back half of the ride is well underway, and it's totally out there for you to enjoy and observe. The park thankfully seems to be noting the positive reception of recent theming efforts. I'm talking the new Loch Ness Monster improvements, I'm talking the interiors of Dark Coaster, and it seems to be putting a lot of resources into making Big Bad Wolf a full ride experience rather than just another coaster. Final thoughts. What a way to bring in the 50th anniversary of this beautiful park. If you plan your trip with the mindset of, I'm going to a Mardi Gras party, rather than I'm going to a coaster park, you will have an absolute blast at Busch Gardens Mardi Gras. The music is rocking, the crowds are low, and the vibes are very, very high. We hope to see you Mardi Gras mamboing out there very soon.